All right, well, welcome back to Say What. This is our sixth edition of the videos. You might see on the table a puzzle from time to time. And they have all been Disney-related puzzles when you see them. This one happens to be a 2,000-piece Star Wars puzzle that they've been working on.
We may have a slight puzzle problem.
This is day 3 for that puzzle.
Day 3. So what we're going to talk to you about today, when you take your Disney vacation, if you've taken one or if you're thinking about taking one, we're going to talk about that first 24 hours, that first day, what that first day is like, planning that out, kind of talking a little bit about that first experience at the park. And so joining me today with this discussion with you, we have Ren.
Hi.
Reagan.
Hey.
Heather.
Hello.
Bree. And Rustin.
Hey, everybody!
So here's a question that I'm going to ask, and anybody can answer this. But first thing I want to start with is, when does vacation start for you? When do you feel like we're on vacation? When is that moment that the trip begins?
For me personally, I feel like after we've checked into the hotel, because we get there like towards the afternoon. We get to the hotel and then we get on the bus to go to a park. That for me is when our vacation starts. Like right when we're like getting into the park, getting security checks. That's when my vacation starts.
Anybody else?
I think it's right when we land in Orlando. I feel like go baggage claim, boom, then we got our Disney bus there, and you're already in that mode. Once you land in Orlando and you get on the Disney bus, you're in Disney at that point. That's what I think.
For me, it's kind of the same, but it's like when we are at the airport and we get onto the monorail, because there's nowhere else where the monorail is at. It's only for Disney. And then when we get on the Magical Express, that's when it like really like sets in.
I know that when we got to the airport, we got to the hotel, like it was all exciting and like I was like excited for it. But the moment I got goosebumps was when we walked into the park and we saw the castle and just being inside of the park. That is where like it really like began for me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Rustin and Ren. I like it when you land and you get on the monorail and you go down to get onto the Magical Express, because everyone in that area works for Disney, and they've already got that mindset that Disney magic is already starting there.
My take might be just a little bit different, because for me, a little bit of the trip begins when we book the trip, because you have to book it
in
so
advance.
yeah, you have to book it out so far ahead.
Magic
So like if you want to eat at the places you want to eat at, you have to book those places 6 months in
California
advance.
Grill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when we did California Grill, it was the one and only time slot available for our 10-day vacation, one day, and we called 6 months in advance.
Called the first day you could actually. I was on the phone the moment it opened, and I knew, because we had already been in cahoots with Rustin with everything going on, so we already knew kind of what the plans were. And then when she told me, I always call. I don't do them online. I always call because she can see everything all at once and I can't. So she told us there was only one time slot available for the California Grill on Christmas Day. I was like, perfect. It's perfect.
So when we booked that trip, from that moment on, there's a little piece of me that's already in Orlando. I know it's happening. I know that it's happening, and I know where we're staying. And then we start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, where we're going to eat. And then 60 days out, you can plan your fast passes. So at the 60 day, at midnight, which our time zone is 11 o'clock when it's midnight in Orlando, we're at 11:01. We're on there booking our fast passes for our trip just as quickly as soon as it's possible. So I love the planning part and knowing where we're going to eat and those kind of things. So for me, a little piece of me is already on vacation from the time that we set that plan and we booked the trip. And then it's kind of like waves, because then we get on a plane, and that's kind of a signal that you're you're on vacation, you're leaving.
Anticipation's building.
Yeah.
But it's
You know?
also traveling, and
Like,
traveling is not
okay.
like the funnest thing. You know?
Yeah.
About
Especially-
5 hours on a plane, and then I'm gonna be on vacation.
So one thing to plan that I think when you're getting that first 24 hours is you kind of have to decide what you're going to do that first 24 hours based on when you arrive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we've arrived mid-afternoon, and sometimes we arrive in the evening.
7, 8 o'clock.
Did
Yeah.
we land in Disney or get to Disneyland in the evening, kind of?
Yeah. So it just depends. But that's a good point. We're going to talk about even Disneyland, that what we did even that first evening when we got to Disneyland, and also what we do in Disney World. So I think for the last 3 trips, one thing that we always do on that first evening there is we already schedule our first meal that night, because we always like doing the dining plan. So when you do the dining plan, you're going to get that meal that first day because you're staying the night. So you get the dining plan. So you already have your credits. So we always pick a place to eat, and Tepanetto has been kind of our
Yeah.
family tradition for us to go there. And does anybody want to talk about what it's like? What that's? I mean, when we first. So I guess I'm way ahead of time. Let's back up to where at the airport. So the experience at the airport when you get there.
In Florida, they were talking about Florida here.
Yeah.
Florida and Disneyland are 2 different experiences for us. We drove to Disneyland, whereas when we go to Florida, we always fly there. So when we get to the airport, I feel like it's like, yeah, this is real. We're in Orlando right now. We're about to go to Disney. But for me, when like the vacation starts, when you stop worrying, when you stop worrying about where's my luggage, where do we need to go, where is everyone, I need to go to the bathroom. When you first like get off the bus at a park, like we go to Tepanetto. So when we first get into Epcot, it's like, whoa, we're here. This is my vacation. I can finally relax.
So when you're at the airport,
You go down to these like lines, right? That gets you ready to go.
Magical Express.
That, depending upon which hotel you're going to at Disney World.
and you follow the little Disney pattern on the ground
Yeah.
that takes you to where all the Magical Expresses are, because every resort that you stay at has a bus to get you there.
Mhm.
And so we get to the Magical Express, and see, to me, that's another wave when you get on the bus, because they're playing the music, they're
The little
playing
shorts.
the cartoons, and another thing, they take so much care of, like they grab your luggage right there.
Yeah.
When you get to the resort, they put the luggage in your room for you. You don't have to haul it into the
Yeah.
front lobby and then haul it over to wherever your room is. They take it to your room for you while you're checking
See,
in.
that's another thing that I was gonna say is with them doing that, you can almost like check in and not even have to go to your room.
You can go straight to
could-
like a park
yeah.
or
You can.
to somewhere else. Yeah.
We've done it.
Now, when they were little, I remember when we went to check in that they got to do what they call balloon fishing. And
I
that's
remember
where
this.
a cast member, they had all these balloons on the
Oh.
ceiling, and then they had one with a little sticky thing on it. And so they let the girls like fish. They take that one up, and it would stick one of the others. Then they bring it down, and then they tied it and did some drawings on it and gave them
Oh, I
their.
thought there was a thing in it, and you like gotta pop it.
No, I do not remember this situation at all.
No,
But
I remember that.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
because
a
you got to
thing
go.
that
You went
had,
over with them,
like,
so
Yeah.
we could check in.
So when parents are checking in, they have fun things like that for the kids, especially like when they were younger. So they had
Especially
something to do.
at Art of Animation, I think they had like little drawing boards. We were a bit older, so we were okay just sitting
Yeah,
there.
they had
and
the
Yeah,
drawing
drawing
boards.
we just looked at the drawings that they had like on the
Yeah.
walls.
Yeah, all the
that
drawings
are
of all like the
so-
Pixar,
Yeah.
not only Pixar but Disney movies.
Ariel, Lion King.
And it's been updated too to where you can go ahead and check in. You don't even have to go in to do that either now. So you can check in before you get there. But I feel like sometimes though when we check in, we get to find out some things that we didn't know about or
One cool thing about checking in that I thought was really special was they give you a pin if it was your first time going. Like I was my first time going when we went in 2015, and they gave me my first time at Disney World pin. So I thought that was really cool.
5 years ago.
There's always a celebration button, and if you ask for them, if it's a birthday, if it's an anniversary, if it's
Or
first
if he
time.
engages or
Yeah.
proposes to you,
Yeah.
they give you an engagement pin or happy ever after pin.
And the other thing I love about when you go in for the check-in part that I love, and I keep them, and I've had them for years, but that's where you get your little maps to the park too. They're right there, and I'm telling you, you always want to have your maps to the
I
park.
was the map lady at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I know the fastest way to get here. I love those maps. This is fun.
Yeah, so you always get your maps for each park and have those, but that's check-in. And then what we usually do, we're not hanging around the resort kind of family. We're
Why
going
go
to
to
be
Disney World if you're gonna stay at the resort?
Well,
Yeah,
for us
yeah.
personally, because we don't live there, we don't get to like go every day. It's like
We
every
don't
5
need
year,
naps.
every 7, 8 year type trip for us.
Yeah, well, we get to the parks. That's what we go for. We love the experience at the parks. So, we're going to kind of give you that perspective. We don't hang around and lounge around at the resorts very much. We do some resort hopping. We do different events at different resorts.
Mhm.
We will eat at a lot of different resorts.
Yes.
They've got some great places. But when we get there, we want to get to the park. So most of the time, if you're flying, you're probably going to show up in the mid-afternoon to evening. And so we always have that evening kind of a plan for that first evening, and it starts with, for the last 3 trips, it started at Tepanetto.
Yeah.
But Rustin, when you were little, the first time that we went, Rustin didn't want to go the very first time. When he found out it was a surprise at Christmas we were going, he wasn't really that jacked up about it. He was about 11 years old. But then when we got there, what was that like when you, if you remember that first time, what was it like when we got there?
Yeah, once we arrived, my opinion had totally changed.
I thought it was just the
I was just so used to going to Grandma's house, and that was our thing, and that's what we did on Christmas. And, I thought Disney World was just going to be, a little kid's place and things like that, even though I was a little kid. I thought I was grown up. I was 11, But, that changed quickly when we got there. Just seeing the resort, and then we did, I'm trying to think what we did that first night. I thought we went to Magic Kingdom.
We did. It's Main Street.
Yeah.
And then getting inside and seeing everything. And then I remember when Grandma did it, the old Nintendo system, there was a Disney video game on the original Nintendo. And I remember my character, and I put him on Space Mountain, these different things, and I thought that was cool. And then you finally experience it for yourself, for real. It was like, oh man. And I was won over really quick, and I just loved it. I mean, what is it, 4 times we've gone now?
Mhm.
And but I know that first disaster. We're not going to Grandma's for Christmas,
And he wanted, so we were going on our way to the airport, and that's when we sprung it on him that we weren't just going Christmas shopping. We were actually getting on a plane and going to Orlando. He wanted us to just leave him at the airport and have Grandma come pick him up, and we go. And so now Heather's in tears, and she thinks this trip's going to be ruined. And I'm just like, you're going. But I remember I had already been in contact with them, and they sent me the maps. And I had them in my pocket in my jacket, and we were sitting in the airport waiting for a plane. And that's when Rustin said, do they have something called Space Mountain? And I was like, oh, yeah. And I pulled it out, and I said, and Thunder Mountain, and this. And he's like, I thought it was just going to be like, kid stuff. And I was like, oh, there's kid stuff. But there's all of this stuff. And then then I got out the Hollywood Studios, and we started looking at the rest. And then it started to change there. But that is the first experience I remember with Rustin when he was going. Now, do you guys remember? You guys were young.
I don't remember.
She doesn't remember the first time, but I feel like I do.
Which is weird because she's younger than I am. She's
Yeah.
like, I was in kindergarten, so I don't know what was happening.
The part I remember the most is getting to eat with the princesses, and we got our. They gave us a little magic wand that had a star on it, and then we had like a star because we're making a wish, and
Bunch
it
of
was like
wishes.
making our wish come true.
So what was the name of that table that you got to eat at the
Cinderella's table.
the Cinderella's
Do they still
table?
do
For
that?
breakfast.
anymore?
Yes.
So
we went and got funnel cake.
Yeah. You guys did that. We went to Sleepy Hollow and got funnel cake for breakfast, and then we went and did a couple other things while you guys were in doing that. And so that's your first experience. Now, Bree, you were a little older.
I was like 23.
So what was it like your first when finally, I mean, you talked about you've been a Disney fan
Yeah.
and you always wanted to go. So now you're finally there. What was that like?
It was like just becoming a kid again. I don't know. I was taken back to when I was like 5 or 6. You know, watching Lion King, Toy Story, seeing all those characters in the park. That was just like the highlight for me. And getting to take a picture with Merida and Brave and Donald Duck.
Yeah,
Oh my
that
God.
was so much fun.
I don't know. It was just like I kind of just went back in time, became a kid.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like you think that you're like too old for like the princesses and stuff, but then you go and you see them and you take pictures with them and you're like,
I never felt like I was too old for princesses or anything.
I know, but it's something that you like don't think about. It's like when I went to go take my picture with Ariel, I was the first person in line, and I look back and there's all these parents with their like
Little
3-year-olds,
kids.
and I'm like, how old was I?
You were
I was like
6th,
13,
7th grade.
13 or 14, and I was like,
They say it's, you know, a magical place, but like I feel like you don't really truly appreciate or fully appreciate the magic until you go there. Like it really is magical.
So I remember when you guys were little, we were at Epcot, and sometimes the lines for the characters can get long. But we just happened to be walking by the American Pavilion, and the gate opened, and here come
I remember
the
this.
Fab Five, the top dogs. I mean, here comes Mickey and Minnie and Donald and Goofy and Pluto, and you're like, I can't believe it. And then I remember I'm like, can we take a picture? And they're like, yeah. I was
We
like,
were one of the first
wow.
ones
So
over
we
there.
were first. I mean, we were the first ones.
Pictures with
Yeah.
every single one
I feel
of
like
them.
that kind of happened when we went with the Fantasia Mickey. Like he was kind of hidden, and we were like, "What's over there?" So we went over there. Was it you or
It was
you? And me and Ren got pictures with
Hollywood
the Fantasia
Studios.
Mickey, and there wasn't like much of a
I thought it
line.
was cool because they had like the little brooms and they all
Yeah.
had like little buckets.
His hat and his.
I remember that. I think that we were in the bathrooms, right? And I see, like, it had like this fence that you could kind of see through, but not really see through. And I'm like, is that Mickey? And like, I just remember that experience.
How about
Yeah.
when we were over in Fantasyland and we were, it wasn't on the trip with Bree, it was the trip before. We were over by the bathrooms.
That's what Dad was talking
And
about.
Peter Pan. You don't remember that? We were over by the bathrooms, and it was weird because we're over by
That was over by where the
by
Country
Pirates.
Bear Jamboree.
Yeah, we're over by the Pirates, and I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Earl's like, okay, again. And so we go, and we come out, and sitting right there at this little fountain area by the bathroom is Peter Pan, back secluded away from everything, but it was really neat to watch him interact.
Yeah. And
I
then
don't remember this.
I remember this last time when we went. We were going to somewhere and it was in Epcot, and then Belle just walked
Oh,
by like it
yeah.
was nothing, and I was like,
Hi.
I was like,
And they have
"Is that her?"
handlers.
But
So
but when they're walking out, the handlers are kind of like not like right next to them. They're kind of like off. So then it's just kind of them walking out, and then it's like crazy. And then I remember walking by Alice and the Mad Hatter too.
yeah, and it's just like you're out there with the characters.
Like
There's-
even at Star Wars Land at Disneyland, like seeing Rey, I was like, when we were in that bit, when we first got like the very first day we got go into there, and we waited outside for like like 2 hours, and like you see Rey with her like staff, and it's just that experience you can't ever take away that Disney gets you.
Or when we were at Disneyland and I forget where we were at, but we were walked around. We were in the hat shop, and we came and walked around the corner, and all of a sudden there's Cinderella.
And Snow White.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was like at the very like almost like the beginning of the park,
Yeah, and there was no one in there.
and they were just hanging out, and they were like, "Can we
Oh,
take
and
pictures
you
with you?"
went?
And they're like,
Oh,
"Yeah."
I remember how it started. Okay, so like we walk out there, we're like, whoa, and then their handler.
I thought they were
They
doing
were-
something.
They
or
were
whatever.
playing like I Spy with all the
Yeah.
pictures that were on the wall, and we were like, oh, it's right here, and they went, wow, and I was like,
It's like crazy how in character they are, like all the time. Like they never. I know it's like a rule, but like they're really never out of character. Like when we took a picture with Donald Duck, I don't know, he was just perfect. He knew how to play into like what we were feeling when we were taking pictures with Donald Duck.
So these are kind of first experience, first impression things that you get when you get there. Now, when we usually go, like I say, that first night we know you don't have a full day, but I want to tell you a couple of experiences that we have had. We've gone and we go eat at Tepanetto. Now, when the girls were a little older, we took them when there's their second trip, and the rest of them's in college. one of the things after we eat at Tepanetto, and we always go around Christmas time. Now it's starting to get dark, and we want to see the castle. So we take the monorail, and we head over to the Magic Kingdom because Epcot and the Magic Kingdom are connected with the monorail system. So we go over there on the monorail, and then at night you see the castle all lit up. So that time we went with them, the new Fantasyland had just opened up. And it was our plan the next day to go see all the new stuff. But that night we got there, we said, well, let's just go check it out.
Long line. It's gonna be so long to wait to get on a ride.
Yeah, and there were almost no lines at all because of the time of night it was. So that first night, we did everything in New Fantasyland. We did the Belle's story time with Belle. Yeah, we did the aerial ride. They moved the Goofy roller coaster over there, and we did that. We did everything. We even did Big Thunder Mountain that night. The very first, we did everything that was planned for the next day. If you were new to Disney and you did that, you would have a very bad impression the rest because you would think this is like this all the time.
Yeah, it's not.
But it was just we got there and we got to do all of that.
It was also extra magic hours in the Magic Kingdom that night, and so it was open till 3 a.m. that night. It was kind of weird, but it was really cool to be able to go on things more than once. I enjoyed it a lot.
And yeah, was that the trip me and Ren went when I was like in 5th grade? That's when we went when they started doing extra magic hours. That was when we went New Year's.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's one thing when you're planning your trip. You also want to look around and see which day is going to be extra magic hours. Sometimes you get to go to the park an hour earlier, and sometimes they stay open later. And either way, you only as the ones who stay on property get to go and stay in that extra time or come in early. And it is something you really want to take advantage of.
Especially on your first night when you get there like a little later, you don't get the full day. It's cool to experience that later night experience, especially because you'll get a little tired throughout your trip, but it's nice to do that the first day that you're there.
And it's kind of like surreal because you're in this like big old park and it's like basically empty, so you feel like you have the whole thing to yourself.
Now, I'm going to tell you something we did a little bit different at Disneyland, and you may want to do this too on your trip. When we go on that first night, we also already have park tickets for that day, even though it's a partial day. We already have our meals for that day. We always go in the park the first day we're there. But at Disneyland, we didn't yet. Our park tickets were going to start the next day.
Oh, we went to the shops.
So we went to downtown Disney, and we ate at that pizza.
Yeah, I like
that pizza.
Which is good.
It was
good.
like
Good.
Subway but pizza, and it was like personal. We each got our own personal pizza. It was so good. It was like a New York, I feel like, style pizza where they had the circle cheeses.
Some people may have a Mott's pizza.
Yeah, it
like
was.
in Colorado, they have some. And,
It was so good.
And then we were able to peruse some of the stores, the Disney stores in the downtown Disney area, and you kind of get jacked up, you get excited.
Tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
And downtown Disney is like this area right between Disneyland and California Adventure. So we did that. But I would say the same thing is possible if you go to Florida, because you can go to Disney Springs. And we spend time over.
Way bigger than downtown Disney at Disneyland, so there's a lot more to do, a lot more to see.
A lot more restaurants. They have more, I would say, outside shops even and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's Splitsville down there, and there's some things
They
you
had a
could
really
do.
cool,
NBA experience.
There's a really cool art store, like where you could buy pictures and stuff. Because I remember I got Rachel the Haunted Mansion picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had lots of
There-
shops.
I'll tell you, to me, since we've been there so many times, the old downtown Disney.
Disney Quest.
Yeah.
I love that place.
The old downtown Disney and then the Disney version of it in California are similar.
Yeah.
But they've upgraded Disney Springs, and I know it's a lot more things there and a lot more to do. To me, it's kind of like one of those outdoor
Like shopping malls.
shopping districts. Instead of like in California, it's truly mostly just about Disney and that kind of thing. And that reminds me of the old Disney, downtown Disney. Russ, and you've been to both of them.
Yeah, I love the old downtown Disney. I remember going to Disney Quest, this 4-story arcade as an 11-year-old, that's heaven in itself. And that's not even the parks yet, you know. And they had the movie theater, bowling alley. I remember I was so run down. I think it was the first or second day, right, when we went to the movie theater. And it's one of the great Tom Hanks movies of all time, Castaway. And I passed out 20 minutes into it. I slept through the whole movie. And that's another thing. When you get there, we that first night, like we did in California, went, had some good pizza, were able to check out some of the stores, and get your rest that night because you're going to hit it
Tomorrow we're
hard.
going hard.
If you go about it like we do it, we try to make the most of it every day. And so, you know, get your good meal in.
You definitely get like more close to 20,000 steps a day.
Oh, yeah. You'll get your steps in. No, with that, try to, not a place for your high heels or maybe not the best time to wear the Jordans, but get your trainers, your running shoes, your best shoes, and have those ready to go. But get a good night's rest.
Yeah.
The cats are raging right now. It's awesome.
Jeffrey's tail is, and then Ollie jumped like 3 feet into the air.
They're just running laps.
So,
Anyways.
but that's exactly that. You're going to hear this advice all the time: is don't wear your brand new shoes to Disney. You want to wear shoes you already feel comfortable in. You don't want the last thing you need when if you don't walk that much is blisters. Now they've got, you know, first aid stations, stuff like that. But wear shoes you're already familiar and comfortable with. Don't try to break something new in on a trip like that because you are going to spend quite a bit of time walking. When we go to Teponado that first night, it's the very
What's up, Jeff?
Meet Jeffrey, everyone.
it's the very furthest back part. Japan is the very furthest part back of Epcot. So you even walk through all of that to get to the back of that. So,
Yeah.
Which I
How
feel
many
like the first
countries
time.
do you pass before we get to the restaurant?
Teponado was like the middle of all.
well, and it depends on whether if you go
Yeah.
right or left.
Whichever angle you come from.
If we go to the right, you're passing Canada, you're passing England, you're passing France, you're passing Morocco. If you go to the left, you're passing Mexico, China,
So you kind of
Germany.
just get to see a variety.
I just remember
Yeah.
the first time we were walking there, I was like, "Are we there yet? No, we still got a couple more countries. Are we there yet?" Like it just kept going, like you thought you were there, but it's still a pretty long walk.
But it's certainly scenic. And I'll say this: be prepared for this too. When you go into the evening, you might think things are kind of dark. They don't just splash a lot of light everywhere. Light's only where they want it. The walkways are a little dim, and
But it's not like so dim where you're like, "Where is everything?"
No.
They still it's safe,
It's lit.
but it keeps
It's
an ambiance
bright.
that Disney is trying to create. And I think they did a really good job of that, especially over by Teponado. It's like with the I don't know what they call those things with the red,
the buildings.
but sort of, but it's not a building. It's just like a type of thing. They do a great job of lighting those up. Like every country has their own. Like even Germany's a little more brighter. I feel like with the at night, but they create different ambiances for every different country.
so our first 24 hours doesn't start at like 8 in the morning. It usually starts in the evening because that's just when we get there. And so our first experience eating and then going and taking advantage of the first magic hours and doing that. And then like Rustin said, then it's hit
Game
the
time.
Hit the hay.
cash it in, and get the battery charged because we're gonna go hard. Now, one thing I've learned with this group is
He's gonna roast us.
the very first thing that has to happen is they got to get caffeined up. That's not something I'm always used to, but so the first thing we do,
Guilty.
whether it's at the gift shop before the bus or right as soon as we get in the park, we got to either find a
Starbucks.
Somewhere with
Starbucks.
coffee.
Or coffee stop.
coffee stop.
It was not like that when we went in 5th grade. That was these two in the 2015.
I'm not
trip.
a pleasant person to be around without caffeine. I'm sorry.
So that's just something you got to know your group and know who you're with and get that you got to get that first part taken care of and get all of that. Then once you get that taken care of and out of the way, now you can start to go experience the park. And one thing you want to do that first 24 hours
Should we introduce
is
This
This
is
is
Ollie, short for Ollivander from
is you want to plan those fast passes. You want to plan them early in the day. We'll talk about fast passes on another video and some strategies on that. But you definitely want you definitely want to have a plan for that first morning, and not just every minute of the day. We've never planned like that, but we do plan what park we're going to be at, where we're going to eat that day. We plan on what our fast passes are going to be, but then we leave a lot of free time in between there, especially for the shows and things like that. So that first morning that we're there, what do you guys talk about for that first morning plan?
For us, I feel like, so when we plan to go to Disney World, we have 3 fast passes for the day, and usually they're spread out so we can do things in between them. And I feel like usually our first one is like it's earlier in the morning. I'm sorry, earlier in the morning. So like usually when we go to,
Don't we do like Hollywood or
we either
like
go to
Rock and Roller
Hollywood.
Coaster?
Yeah, usually we'll go to Hollywood Studios on our first day, or I always feel like we go to Animal Kingdom. I don't know why, but that first is going to be a big ride. So say we go to Animal Kingdom, we'll go ride Mount Everest, or in Hollywood Studios we would go to Rock and Roller Coaster. And I feel like that just sets up your day. You get the big one knocked out, you get it quick and done, and it just sets the tone for the rest of the day.
And sometimes you may be able to fast pass initially and then whoop, right back on
Yeah.
because
Or
Exactly the
The
opposite.
other way, yeah,
Yeah.
like you get to go in without the fast pass
Yeah.
and then go back and use your fast pass. or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So you know that if you get there, and for us, our usual first park after that first night. The first night we've seen Epcot, we've seen the Magic Kingdom. So that next day we're usually going to either Hollywood Studios or sometimes we've gone to Animal Kingdom. I tell you, there's websites out there you can find that will tell you crowd levels, and you want to try to use that because I always try to go to the park on, let's say it's a Wednesday. They'll tell you, okay, Wednesday, Hollywood Studios may have the shortest crowd, so I may try
take
that.
advantage.
But we also go during like Christmas times, and so a lot of those dates are a little different than a usual Wednesday at Disney World. And I think that for us, that also is totally different the way we see Disney World is because we usually go at Christmas, and so I think for us it's more of like a holiday fun time more than I don't know how to say where I'm going here, but it's a different experience for us if we were to go say in the summer than during Christmas.
So the morning time, what do you guys say? That morning experience.
All right, have your clothes out and ready the night before.
Maybe stretch because with these people on long legs, you got to keep up with them.
That's
And
her problem.
so,
She's a little
uh,
vertically challenged.
Without my coffee, I'm not in the best mood to be walking that fast. So
Yeah. I definitely say that like when you wake up, you kind of feel like you're dragging a little bit, but then you get
Oh,
there,
no.
and then you wait in the line, and then once you get through, you're like, ooh, I'm
No.
pumped.
yeah.
I don't get the drag. When we're in Disney World, I wake up and be like, this is the day we're going to have so much fun. I love Disney World. Yes!
The first day, there's no drag.
But I'm
That
with
first
Brad.
morning, there's no drag.
It's
So-
usually because it's
It's
after
just like
the
every
traveling.
morning, just trying to wake yourself up. Waking up is not the easiest thing for some people. But then once you're at the park, you're waiting in lines, and you got that adrenaline rush. You're like, yes, I can't wait to do this. And it's totally worth it.
So batteries sometimes can run down at the end of the day for some, and for some it's still
That happened one time.
The wheel's
it's
still
still
running.
One
going.
time?
It
That's why you
changes.
take nap breaks at like the Hall of Presidents or at those shows. Those are what they're meant for. They're for
And that's
naps.
why I think you should like kind of leave more so of like freedom in your like schedule because you know you don't actually like exactly know when someone's gonna get tired or when you're gonna want to like sit down because your feet hurt or when you're like I want to go do like all the thrill rides in the world. You also don't know the
No-
wait times. that
Yeah,
could-
knowing how to pace it. So
Yeah.
hit that big one. All right, then we got a little time before our next fast pass. Let's go hit this. Go
And I
look
don't know
at
what
that.
happened
Let's go
that
get a
night.
little
I
snack.
didn't feel good that
Yeah.
night. I needed to go back to the hotel.
But that first morning, yeah, we know as soon as we hit that park, let's say it's Hollywood Studios, we're making a beeline for Rock and Roller Coaster. Or so one thing I try to do, let's say I have the first fast pass that day is going to be Tower. Well, then we're going to hit Rock and Roller Coaster.
Mhm.
If Rock and Roller Coaster is a fast pass, then we're going to hit the Tower and get that hit, and then go to that. And sometimes you can turn right back around and get on
Yeah,
one of
we
those
can.
other ones right again, and do it again while you're right over in those areas. Those two are next to each other, which it makes it really convenient.
That's why it's essential that maybe the first night or at night, whatever night, wherever you're at, don't go party too hard downtown because then you're going to hurt your next day big time.
Yeah.
So, stay hydrated, do all those little things.
Oh yeah, definitely drink a lot of water.
You're going to be putting in the miles.
Just give this because you can go up to any of the places and just ask for a glass of water, and they will give you a glass of water for free. And knowing that is kind of been a little game changer. I feel like for us. I don't know. I feel like when you go, I get hot too easily. Sorry. So, but one of the things I like about the first day is just being able to watch everyone's reactions and look at how everyone smiles and laughs and how much of a family we are, much more together when we're down there.
One thing I noticed is when I was younger and even recently, like I've always been big at taking pictures. Like I always take a lot of pictures wherever I go, whatever I do. But especially this last time, I haven't really been taking pictures a lot when we go to the park because I'm just been caught up in the moment. And so that's kind of cool. You don't feel like you don't need the pictures. You just want to be there. You want to experience
And
it.
I think that's like a society thing. Like, I think about people when you go to a concert and you're in the crowd right in front. I
You're
love
watching
Slipknot,
through
for
people's
example.
phones.
Okay, you want to witness that thing. You're looking through a screen when the show's right in front of you. Don't waste your time doing those things. You're gonna have that in your your mind forever. You're gonna get tons of pictures that are included where you go that don't take
that's-
yeah.
And
that's what I
when
was gonna say.
you're walking through the park and people are just walking into each other, looking at their phones and stuff like that, it's like, enjoy your moment. Put that thing away for a little bit.
Especially for us, since we don't get to go like as often as those who live there. We don't have an annual pass or anything. So for us, it's like, wow, this is like not a once in a lifetime, but an experience that I'm not going to get to experience for a while. And I think that makes us appreciate a lot more than those who
I
live
still bring
there.
my phone to take the occasional selfie.
Yeah,
but
we definitely take our
I
fair
feel
share of
like it's-
pictures, food pictures, especially when we go out to
yeah.
eat and just rub it in people's faces. The amazing food we're eating at Disney.
I also feel like it's like we don't really want to take pictures because there's so many pictures that get taken for you. Or when you want to go take pictures, you don't necessarily have to take them, especially with the photo pass. Like when we wanted to take our picture in front of the Millennium Falcon or in front of the castle, it's like there's people there for that, and it's gonna turn
so
out
you're able
better
to
than
just put your phones
your
away
phone.
and enjoy the
Now, I'm kind of the official family photographer, so they don't have to worry about that. I usually am carrying the camera, and I'll shoot some things and I'm glad I have, especially starting doing this, because I have those photos. Like I caught all you guys at when we stayed at Art of Animation. I got you guys around all the different cars, characters.
Yeah, but that was something we were like, let's take a photo of all of it.
It's an actual camera, not the cell phone. Put that thing away for your trip a little bit.
Yeah. What I would say is, the very first time you're doing any of these rides, don't use your camera. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy that experience and do that. And maybe later, if you want to schedule out an hour and say, I'm just going to capture some video walking around, stuff like that, sure, do that. But don't be so worried about keeping the moment that you don't experience the moment.
Yeah.
Have the moment. Just like what we're able to share here is we can talk about those moments. We don't have all these things on video. We don't have all these things on photo, but we can talk about when we saw the Country Bear Jamboree or when we went on to, and so when you're in there that first day and you're going to want all this stuff, believe me, if you're going to have a week vacation, whatever, you're going to have time. That first day needs to be very magical. It's going to be magical no matter what.
Yeah, the whole trip will be.
Yeah, but don't overburden yourself that you have to record every moment of every day of everything going on, or else you're going to miss the moments. There's sometimes we even got back to the resort and you've done so much in that day, and I'm just trying to recall everything we did.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, did we ride that? Yeah, we did. We did do that. Oh, you're just trying to remember everything that you did anyway, even without recording it. So your day is going to be jam packed. Let's see if he makes it.
No, he's not gonna make it.
Oh!
You're a beast, Jeff.
He just jumped from the table to the
Pretty
couch.
nimble for a big guy.
Which is further away than usual.
So that's
I was
kind of the
scared.
experience of the morning. Now, another thing we do in the morning, because you get your snack, you get your dining, and you get your evening meal, is we kind of use a snack credit for breakfast. We're not necessarily a sit down breakfast kind of. We're hit something, get something quick to give you a little juice
Let's
and then go.
explain what our breakfast is. We've had cupcakes for breakfast. We've had
giant
funnel
cinnamon
cake.
roll.
Coffee is my breakfast usually.
like we're not talking about
yeah.
a full hearty breakfast.
And I-
We're at the parks. We're having a great time.
And I hate sweets, but this is your time to indulge because
It
it's some
really
good
is.
stuff.
So then we get to around lunchtime. We've hit some of the big rides. We've taken in a show. We've done some of that. It's getting lunchtime, and that's when we usually use what is called either counter service. That's basically where you walk up and order at a counter. Or now you can do quick serve or
Order?
what's the order on the phone called?
You can order ahead.
Mobile order. You mobile order, and then you just walk up and get your food. We did that at Disneyland. You go to a different window, and you're able to just get it instead of waiting in the line and starting from there. But we usually quick counter service our first meal that first day, and get something quick. But when I say quick, I don't want you to think that it's just like
Fast food, fried food. No, Disney does a great job of making sure those quick service they're like really good food. It's not like amusement park food that you're getting at these quick services. They're
It's
high
not the
quality.
carnival.
No.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
really good
And
at.
Especially
my
for-
favorite one would probably have to be Belle's Castle,
That's
because
a good
it's
example of what a quick serve.
like it doesn't feel like it's a quick serve, because I didn't even think it was a quick serve. I thought it was like a sit down thing, but it's like cool, because especially the little like rosebud thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like
yeah.
a
So
treasure.
so when we go to the counter service at the Beast Castle, you actually place your order before you walk in at a computer, and then they give you this rose. Well, the rose is actually has a little chip in it, so it knows where you're at. So you go in this acre-long size
huge.
of different places you can
Like
eat.
7 different dining
Like the different
rooms.
Well,
like
3.
rooms of the
There's
castle.
like 3 different rooms.
Yeah,
you
there's
can
like
go
the
to.
like the ballroom or whatever, and then there's like that his
Rose room?
room, the rose room. Yeah.
And then there's the one with her like I don't know, they were like spinning, dancing.
Isn't that
Yeah.
the ballroom?
You got
There's like the actual ballroom, and then there's the one where they're like spinning off to the side.
we ate in the we've eaten at a couple of different ones, but we have eaten in the Rose Room. I really like it in there.
Because
And
like
it's
the
where the
lighting and
beast
stuff.
has torn up the walls, and
Yeah.
it looks just like that.
And the petals are so
The petals are falling off of the rose that's in, and it's a 3D kind of rose in there. But that's a counter service, and that's what Rin was saying. That you're sitting down, you're eating at a table, they're bringing you your food.
Mhm.
And it's hot food. It's not cold. There is some cold food, but it's hot food. But
it depends on what you
No,
want.
I mean, like, I shouldn't say it's just like hot food, but it's like it's not a simple hot sandwich or
Like
that.
braised
it's
beef.
Yeah.
It's a fine dining
Like a meal.
quick service.
When I
And-
think of quick serve, I think about the one in Animal Kingdom where you like they say don't feed the animals.
The
but-
flame tree barbecue.
Yeah.
The barbecue one,
Yeah.
that's a good spot.
And that's
I like that
more
one.
of like I would say like a McDonald's is the way that you go up and you order your food and then you get your food right
On
then.
a tray.
They don't come and serve it to you. But like it's not McDonald's in the way that the food tastes, the way the food is made. It's
Half a chicken, half a rack of ribs.
That's a good
it's-
spot. I like that
it's
spot.
good food over there.
And like that's kind of like how it was in the Star Wars land.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had two
the
good ones there.
The
Cantina?
cantina, and then what was the other one
I
that
don't
we went to?
remember the other name.
And like
but-
their
It
seating
had a weird name.
the seating at these quick serves are
Yeah.
so like especially the Star Wars one, the way that was themed, they had like buckets to sit on, but they weren't buckets, they were like Star Wars themed buckets. I don't know how to
And
explain
Scrap metal.
it was
Even the little thing that your food came in was like a little, like I don't know, it was like a little metal.
It was all sci-fi'd out.
yeah.
Oh, the
Well,
whole
even the counter
experience is-
service at Hollywood Studios, since that's usually where we start our day, the very first day, was that commissary. And I had salmon with a salad, and I was asking the other day, what are those little green things that come up?
Edamame.
Edamame, and we don't have that around here.
No.
So having a salad with that kind of thing on it, and then having salmon. I mean, and this is counter service, so this is your kind of your mid-size meal, and so we're able to do that.
Mid-size. It's still like that could be considered a dinner.
Yeah, it'll
sometimes.
fill you up.
It
It will
gets
fill
you
you up.
because we eat
Supper,
usually.
supper.
When do we usually eat the quick service? Around like
One.
noonish.
Yeah, it's kind of late afternoon. I would suggest no one try to eat at noon. I mean, everyone else is trying to eat at noon.
You hit
So-
at 11, right at 11 or like
Or
Or after
1:30.
1. Yeah, and
1:30.
we're usually 1 because we know we're going to be in the park late.
Well, we also eat a late dinner. We try to schedule dinner
Like
at 8 or 9.
9.
Yeah. Now, sometime in the afternoon, we're still going to grab a Mickey bar, a citrus swirl. We're going to grab
pretzel.
a pretzel.
A
churro,
turkey
coffee.
leg. Arr.
Oh, yeah. Which
So-
some people probably would do that as their lunch, to eat a turkey leg by themselves.
It's
but
plenty.
It's
We-
a
we
snack
snack
credit.
together.
It's a snack credit.
So early in the afternoon, then, on that first afternoon, I always try to schedule a show because you just ate. We're trying to look for either something like
Indy.
Indiana Jones, even if we go watch the Ariel
live-action
show,
Belle
uh,
sometimes.
live
Yeah.
action Hunchback. No, that's all.
It's-
That hasn't been there
the,
for a
uh,
while.
Oh, that was a good one though. I
Yeah.
remember that one.
we
I
did
remember that
do that, but it's gone now. That
It's
is
Belle.
yeah,
Or
Beauty
where
and the
it used
Beast.
to be Tarzan, and now it's
No, Tarzan is where
where Nemo used to
Nemo
be.
is.
Okay.
So in all the parks, there's going to be some kind of show, and there's usually little to no lines to get into the shows. So, and if it's a warmer day, you can do one of the indoor shows, things like that.
And there's
But-
plenty of those.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and-
the Frozen sing along.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun one.
Nemo.
Who doesn't like
Nemo.
to sing along?
Nemo's really good.
So there's a lot of shows that we try to take in kind of early, and this is when the park crowds are at their height. I'd say between 10 in the morning and about 7 or 8 at night. That's when you've got your peak crowd. So you don't want to be standing in line 2 hours waiting to get on Space Mountain or something like that. You want to go
If
ahead.
you got there early,
Yeah.
we've
We've already banged those out. Now we're watching everyone else stand in line. So then what that frees up are some of those, I don't want to say it as derogatory, but I say lesser attractions. We've already knocked out the big stuff. So now we go to the things that may not have the biggest crowds.
Which would be like what in Hollywood Studios? I'm trying to think here.
We've done the stunt show. We've done.
That's not there anymore, but we've done that.
Really?
Mhm.
What's over in Hollywood? Well, I guess now that would be like Toy Story Land. Some of those rides over
Muppet
there.
3D.
Muppet
Yeah.
3D.
Yeah, Muppet
Stuff like
3D. You go do that.
Because like I can think of some other parks.
No.
No, PhilharMagic's. No, that's
Philhar
over
Magic's at Magic
the
Kingdom.
Kingdom.
But see, that's why we don't spend a full day, and this is why we always get the park hoppers. Because we've knocked out the big stuff at Hollywood Studios, we've grabbed something to eat.
But now
A lot of
it's,
times, we'll get on and head over to one of the other parks.
But now Hollywood Studios is more of a full day park than
Now
when
it
we
is.
went. Because now it has Star Wars Land,
Toy Story.
Land. It's got
Is Avatar over there?
No, it's
No,
that's
an
an Animal
Animal
Kingdom.
Kingdom.
And then
We
that's
haven't been
also
yet.
helped.
Gotta get-
That's
gotta
also
get
helped Animal Kingdom become a
Wait.
more full day park. They're doing Disney's doing a great job of making sure that you can still go to one of their
Kitty
parks
says
and
hi.
still fill up a whole day. It's not going to be a half day park.
Yeah, but when we went, we banged out all the things we really wanted to do at Hollywood Studios. We went over to Launch Bay. We did all that. We did Midway Mania. We banged all those things out, and then we hopped on a bus and we headed off to another park. Now, if that was our first trip, we wouldn't have done that. But we've done it so many times now. We've kind of got we know what we want to do and where we want to go and what time of day is best for this
How
park
to,
or that park.
manage your time a little bit better.
Yeah, and park hopping isn't a bad thing. I feel like you don't expect to spend a whole day in a park because you're gonna do a lot of the things that are there, and you still want to be able to go experience some other things in parks that you may enjoy a little bit better. Maybe you enjoy Disney, the Magic Kingdom a little bit more than Hollywood Studios just because of your favorite rides.
Yeah, you hit all those attractions that day, and it's 4 o'clock. You know, you got plenty of time
Or go to, like-
make the most of each day. We go till what, midnight every night?
Yeah.
So, and then we get up at 5:45, 6.
Well, some of us try to,
We try.
and
Bree's
Yeah.
shaking her head.
and I want to be on the first bus out, and I
One
have
of
not
these.
been able to do that.
We will next time. I will get up. I will.
It's not because I'm not
Sacrifice.
excited.
We
It's just
usually
hard to
get
wake up.
to the park at what, 7:38?
Well, it depends. Usually not. You're having a false sense of how
know we're
early.
awake at
Some parks don't open till 9,
Okay.
and so it doesn't matter. Now, if it's extra magic hours opens at 8, then yeah, we try to be down and get on the bus at 7:30, so that we can be in line to be some of the first ones in the park. And that's what they call
And now
rope
you're
drop.
like
If you can be there early enough,
Yeah.
but you have to be there about an hour and a half early to get rope drop because you got to get through all the checkpoints. You got to get through your ticket. Then you're inside the other side of the tickets, but you can't go any further. That's where the rope is. Then they'll drop the rope, and then you can go on. Now, sometimes, like when we did Star Wars, we were able to get right up to the entry of Star Wars, and then we had to wait right there.
Which they had us go the very longest way because there were so many people in that line to get into there. Which is, I was not expecting them to do that.
And then they made us get in like 2 lines.
Yeah.
And then we had to walk the rest of the way, which was still quite a way to get there. But we were like in one big group, then we had to make it into 2 lines. Yeah.
So we mentioned park hopping, even if it's on your first day, if that's something that you want to do. And we talk about Disney transportation. It's one thing I love about the Disney transportation because you don't have to just get on a bus to go back to your resort. If you're at the Animal Kingdom, or I'm sorry, let's say you're at the Magic Kingdom and you want to go to the Animal Kingdom, you just go to the Animal Kingdom bus.
And you're like,
And they'll take you right over there and drop you off at the front. You don't have to park out in the South 40. You don't have to go through that checkpoint to get in. You go, the buses have a free lane in. So they just come right in and go on in.
The other thing you might want to do too is if you know it's going to be maybe the peak part of the time of the day, is call over and try to get a reservation at Beaches and Cream, and you could have ice cream in the afternoon over there.
that's what I was about to say.
And then you get to take the boat over there, and that's cool to do that.
I get to see
Down the
other
kitchen
resorts.
sink.
Like we usually stay in like some of the, I don't know how to say it, not the higher class. We're not staying at like the Grand Floridian or anything like that.
We stay at the value resorts because
We don't
our focus isn't the resort.
We're there to sleep. That's the only time we go
And
back.
so
And still, the animation hotel resort was really cool. Like I thought it was
it's like
really
3
cool.
different resorts
Yeah.
in one.
We stayed in the Cars one, and there was a
Little
Little
museum,
Mermaid, and then
kind
the
of.
Lion
I
King.
was really hoping we would get
Maybe next time.
There's sketch museum basically
Yeah,
inside.
it's
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
theming in the rooms, like the lights were
Yeah.
the little cones, and the
Like, I mean,
sands.
There was one room, and then we had the bed out in like the main room, and then you guys had the couch, so it wasn't like the
I thought it
biggest
was cool
room,
'cause
but
you guys had a Murphy bed, and I had
Yeah.
never seen a Murphy bed before.
Yeah.
But
That was the
Wait,
first
that
time I ever saw
that is one
Mr.
of the
Pickles.
beds that comes out
That last
of the
time.
we just needed to sleep in
You
there,
guys
and
were
that was
watching
it.
Mr.
So
Pickles. I was like, what are
We
you
sleep, we clean up, we get back on, and at to the parks. That's how we do it. Now I know some people who they'll in the middle of the afternoon go back to the resort and
Take a little
swim
power
in
nap.
the afternoon and take a nap, and then they'll go back for the fireworks at night. Now we're kind of one of the things we love is we love the fireworks, and we especially love afterwards because people start leaving. And when they
Get
started
out of
leaving,
here.
that's when we started hitting the big rides again. And
I love when people get trapped in like watching the fireworks because then we're like wiggling our way through and we get to go do what we want when everyone's like attention is drawn here.
so we're not a big parade family either. So when the parades are going on and everyone's lining up on the streets to watch the parade, we're heading to a ride.
And that's not to say that these parades aren't good.
We've seen
it's
enough.
a
Just
different.
don't
We've seen a lot
It's
of
a
Yeah.
different family. Like I feel like the parades are for those who are closer and like their kids are a lot smaller. Like you're not gonna take one of us when we're like 2, 3.
Or it's like your first trip.
Yeah, but
You want to catch it.
Well, we did. I remember one time when it was the New Year's trip, but we watched the electrical parade.
Yeah.
A nighttime parade, and that was
remember
really.
stuck into the front.
Yeah.
And
That
Red
was
was
really
on your
cool.
That was the
shoulders.
last time
Yeah.
I rode his shoulders.
Yeah. And I was like, how much longer is this parade? But
I was like,
You were in 7th grade.
I was not that big.
I had her on the
I was, like,
shoulders.
a foot shorter
Reagan had
than-
weaseled her way to the front, and because I'm taller, I don't get in the front. I stay toward the back because I can see over people. I want the kids in the front. Let them see what's going
or
on.
short people.
Or short people, and then that. But sometimes you just get caught. You're trying to move from here to there, and it's parade time, and they start roping off the streets, the main walking areas, and you just kind of get caught sometimes.
But just enjoy it. And if you're gonna get caught, don't be like, oh man, I was about to go ride the I can't even think, some Tower of Terror or something like that. But enjoy it. These parades it might be a memory that you're gonna remember for a while.
And then, like, another thing is, like, when you're at Hollywood Studios, like, they don't necessarily have parades, but they have performers that are constantly out, that are, like, the 50s, 60s, like, kind of style and all that. they're out there
Threes.
performing, whatever. And you know, that's something just like cool to see as you're like walking by, but like it's not necessarily something that you feel like we
personally feel like
we don't feel like drawn to stop and stare at.
or
for
like
a
the
while.
barber singers on Main
Mhm.
Street.
But don't be so caught up that you're just in a rush to get to here and a rush to get to there and a rush to get to there that you don't watch some of that stuff. We have watched some of the street performers. We've listened to the music at different places.
Even at
Um,
Universal, I remember there was the construction workers. They're like bing 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 bing.
Yeah, there's always going to be something going on the streets, and take the time to
Sorry.
enjoy that. That stuff is entertaining as well. I know we want to hit the big rides.
Even the janitors, like with their they get like a little broom and they have water in their little thing, and they'll draw like Mickey Mouse or Donald the Duck. Like those are things, just little moments. I feel like little touches that Disney puts on a trip that can make it even more magical than it already is.
So that's kind of the pattern of that puts us close to about the first 24 hours because now we're getting ready for the second evening. So that first evening is a little different because you just got there. Then you get up, you go through that first day, and that's the magic starting to settle in. And like they've mentioned before, you're really adrenaline pushed on that first 24 hours because everything is new and fresh. You saw the castle, maybe you saw Epcot, you saw the big ball, you saw the geodesic sphere.
I was surprised you said the big ball. I was like, what?
Maybe you hit the Yeti or the Space Mountain.
You've seen the big Tree of Life. You've seen the Chinese Theater at Hollywood Studios. All the big icons. You've seen all that. You just
Wow.
you're all excited and all of that. And the cool thing is that's just going to crash every single day. It's just going to be like waves hitting. You're just going to feel that magic over and over. But that's kind of the first day. Anything I didn't mention about the first day, the first 24 hours of Disney?
No, but when you go to the park, something that you don't realize is that there's always music playing, but you don't think about it. You hear it, you know it's there, but you don't think about it. But it just kind of adds to the feel of it.
Especially at Christmas, because I still remember this one Christmas song they played. It took me a long time to find it. I finally found it. But it was kind of like an island sounding song. It was a Christmas song, but it had an island beat to it and I finally found it. But they do play up the holidays beautiful if you go during the holidays. What did you have?
I was gonna say, one thing that I might try to do next time is get Mickey ears at the beginning of the trip, so you can wear them throughout the trip. Because I think one time when we did get them, we kind of got it at the end of the trip, and we didn't wear them that much. And so I would want to wear it like throughout the trip more.
Yeah, and one trip we took, we did get them early, and it's like in all of our pictures, we're wearing our Mickey ears and things like that.
That was the New Year's Eve one.
And that's something that we would do too. Is like if we wanted to like just go take pictures, we would kind of head back to the hotel, freshen up. I remember one night we all grabbed our ears, and then we went back, took our pictures, and then we went and did other stuff. And we did the
I think that's the
Buzz
night we did
Lightyear's-
Buzz Lightyear and then
Space
we rode
Ranger
the
spin, and
Splash
we were all in there with our hats.
But one
Oh,
cool
yeah, 'cause I
thing
was
is
in
we
that.
were in line at to get the castle shot at night. We wanted that at night.
It's
And-
Oh, that was
And then
perfect because we
Frozen
got the show started right
Yeah.
when we were online, so we were like right there in the castle.
Yeah, so right when we're about to take our picture, the lights go off.
And
The
they
castle
couldn't
goes
take
on,
our
and the
picture.
photographer says, "Oh, gotta wait till after the show, but we'll get you. You'll be the first one right after the show." But the beautiful part about that is we were right in the middle. We were on Main Street in the center. They won't even let you there because of taking photos.
Yeah.
The only reason we got to be there is because we were taking a photo. So we were right in the middle. Beautiful angle on the castle, right squared up in all of that, and got to see that show. They don't do that show anymore. That was I think
Frozen.
Wishes.
Wishes.
Yeah, I thought it was Frozen.
Frozen was
No,
when
it
we were
was-
closer
It
to the
ended
castle.
with Genie.
It was
Right.
Wishes.
No, that's the one they have now. Wishes was what we saw, and now it's called.
Friend?
Oh,
I remember
think it
though
is.
I'll
when
put
we
it on
went
here.
that it was after Robin Williams and there was a big Genie part and
Yeah.
that was that was
Yeah. and it's how they do that projection on the castle is incredible. But if you want the magic, do definitely want to do that.
And even watching it at Disneyland, since it's a little smaller, they even did it on Main Street. They had the projections on the buildings going down Main Street, and that was pretty awesome to
That
see.
one was a
Their
lot
castle is
weirder.
so much smaller. They just
It
don't
was
have
like
the space.
jam packed, and like it's like you would like go to turn and you couldn't really turn.
You
your body, so
really
you were-
Disney, like experiencing the castle at Disney World, it's so different experiencing it at Disneyland. And I think it's a matter of space, like we keep saying in all these videos. But you have to watch the castle, I feel like, at least once while especially on your first trip, because it's an amazing moment, a magical moment.
And I would say that first night you're there, you have to see the castle. Even if you don't go into the Magic Kingdom, you can drive by it and see the castle. For a lot of people, they may feel like my trip started when I saw the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of magic to take place, especially if you're taking the family and you see the castle, and you see how big it is, you see the beauty, and how they do the lights on it at Christmas time. It looks like it's just coated in ice sometimes. They just do an incredible job.
One of the things I think we didn't mention is when you do get to your room and you have mousekeeping taking care of you, some of the towel art and stuff that they leave you. So don't forget to tip your mousekeeping person, your mousekeeper. So that way, because they help, I think they make part of your trip magical as well.
Yeah, and you come back and your bed's made like that.
And
Well,
then
that
there's like
happens
a
at most hotels.
Mickey there.
But it's just it's a different experience when you walk back into your hotel at a Disney resort than it is, say, at a hotel that's off the resort.
And my last tip, and then we're going to wrap this up, is when you're in a group of 6 that first day, and one person has to use the bathroom, make everybody go ahead and use the bathroom, or else you're going to be making 6 trips to the bathroom every hour on the hour. You got to just gut it up and go. And then that's the other thing about that caffeine that
Hey,
the first shot
I
of the
don't have
day.
a bladder of a 2-year-old like somebody.
I didn't ask to go to the bathroom once.
Then you got to get that midday dose too.
Yeah, you gotta get the second jolt of energy in there. But this is our first 24 hours. We hope you enjoy your first 24 hours, and we hope you enjoy this video. We're going to be bringing some more to you and share some more about Disney experiences and some tips and tricks. We're going to talk about fast passes and how to use those. So Earl with Say What, saying, hey, if you like these videos, go ahead and click the like button. We'd love you to do that. Click the subscribe. And also, if you click that bell, you'll know when we put a new video up for you.
Get
And you
notification.
and you'll be notified. So thanks for joining us. And this Earl with Say What, saying thanks for joining us. And we'll be seeing you real soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.